Let's go back to something you touched on a bit ago, which you and I both lived here through. And I think you did a great job describing what it did to the city. But talk about your feelings regarding the Atlanta Olympics.
Ugh. Well, first off, anytime, anytime that straight men make aesthetic decisions based on that scale, it's going to be bad. And it was very clear that it was just like we're still saddled with a lot of bad sculpture. And, I remember the hideousness of the torch, this horrible East Berlin looking stairway, then with a thing across the boulevard to the stadium, and the runner was going to light and then they chose Muhammad Ali, which of course like, you would, except, he can't run up the stairs. At that point, he was a victim of his own. I mean, again, this is a victim of his own sport. Like, he had to be helped up. The whole thing was like they didn't use it for you get somebody you put this person in the forefront again, who's a victim of his own, who's having all these struggling because he was hit in the face so many times for you to watch. Like, it doesn't, the whole thing, it just seemed to, like, here's the target, and it just hit here and here and here and here. And we had a lot of fun. I mean, there were crazy, getting thrown out of the Swatch Pavilion because somebody in our party, announced they would like cocaine loudly from the atrium, like up the stairs. I won't say who it was. She's a big star. But now we have to leave. But it was this weird sort of, it just destroyed. There's no legacy in it. The dorms that were built, they're not any. There's no cohesiveness to it, and it just wasn't it wasn't our crowd, and it just brought a lot of heat on everybody. But like I said, in the aftermath, there were a lot more places to play. Mm-hmm. There were a lot more places to play.
It's interesting. I've never heard anybody talk about the following years of the Olympics in the way that you have. Mm. So you say that they were actually kind of like the last hurrah.
Well, I think naturally they would have been anyways, because the internet was coming, everything was coming. This was things were changing, and that like the design was in the hands of everybody with a computer. Like, it didn't, like, there were a lot of things that were changing. Naturally, it just happened that our Olympics coincided with this. And what's it? Oh, Izzy, that's what he was, Izzy. I remember we got in trouble, etc., because we ran a thing, Izzy, and we were like, we hope not. These farting stars out there, like, not even just. Oh,
I'm sorry for the viewers. Can you tell us what Izzy is, please?
Izzy was just, every Olympics has a mascot, and Izzy was the Atlanta mascot, except he wasn't.
He looked like a yam. That was
like in workout clothes. Like, it just looked like, I don't know, just like some old like Jewish grandma in some sort of like flash dance clothing, and he farted stars, and he went around and he did all the things, and he was real happy to be, but he wasn't anything. Like, it wasn't like at least he could have been a peach or something if he was going to be Atlanta or a Southern Belle or something, but he wasn't even that. Like, he was just, again, straight men making all these decisions. Shouldn't have been. It's my opinion, and it's just I'm going to stick to that. I'm like, yeah.
That's why we're here. So
why so many don't come back, but yes.
So you feel that with the internet coming, things changing for us digitally, having things in your pocket, things on your desktop, started to change things, how people socialized, how the way art was created.
I think too, like, I never took pictures of, well, I shouldn't say that. I didn't take many pictures because it was expensive. But I didn't take pictures of bad things. And I wasn't interested in, like, of this. I have some images, like this one guy, it was a regional night. It was a New Year's Eve, so we were dealing with the people who started drinking at 3 because we're in the city. But midnight is 9 hours away, and by 10 p.m., I'm dragging them off the dance floor because they wet themselves and putting them in lawn chairs in the office. Like, it can't, And then I Trina pose with one, and like, do blondes have more fun? It depends, or whatever. I'd travel half across the incontinent just to see you, whatever. But I don't like the picture now. I don't think that this poor man. I put a bar over his eyes, but it didn't really help. I didn't like stuff like that. I didn't take pictures of bad, but I did take a lot of pictures that, like, I've had people say, I don't like that picture, take that picture down, or I don't like to remember this time in my life. And it is sort of funny in that, like, you know, we made the joke one time that, like, hey, I paid you to, like, forget that you saw that. And I was like, yeah, I use the money to buy film and take a picture of it. So no one will ever forget it. Sorry. I got that wrong. Yeah, with cameras so prevalent now, I don't know. It wouldn't even be this. I don't think you could build the nightlife thing that you build now, because it may have been the only picture of a lot of people that night. And then, too, is one of the things I love about the collection. In the end, when the collection was done, there's a cohesive amount of certain stars, like Brittany Fairchild, people like that, who just, they didn't leave a legacy. They didn't have an archive. And I am so glad that we can put that representation into the collection. Like, that just means the world to me. So yeah, so I don't know now with the prevalence of cameras. I don't know what it would be. I'm very happy to have my, and I can take a picture anytime and get lots of pictures. I still take pictures at night. I am trained, not trained. I still do it in the same style. I mean, I could take thousands, and I get really tired of, like, 52 pictures of that cake, Brenda. Like, I'm like, I'm glad there was a retirement party. Do we need a photo dump of 700 images? I will still edit down to one of this, one of that, and everybody's covered. So, yeah, I can't imagine what it would be like if. I don't think we would have done it. I don't think people, like, you would have had 100 on the way to the club. You would have. I mean, I think that there was something about. This can't be right, but I'm going to say it about limitations. Limitations really. Or where it's at. But I just hate to say, like, that sounds awful. But it really was one of those things where it's something I struggle with the computer. Like, I can't with design. Like my mother would say, "Oh, where do you begin?" But my thing is, where do you stop? I have to have, like, a lot of that, like, all that, like, the imagery I create, like that picture of you and your puppy in the car. So I did that in Word because there were just a lot of limitations. And to me, it gave you still, that was kind of that cut and copy and pasty at Kinko's out of the magazine, and it still kind of had that little bit of, like, it was in Word, so it still did this. I've never touched Photoshop. I just don't even know where I would stop. I would just be chained to that thing, trying to get it right forever.